So the depth of these holes is mostly informed by the depth at which the soil freezes. So you can just always check online to find out how deep that is. Supposedly here it's between 18 and 24 inches, and these holes are 3 feet, so we're just going to be extra safe. And the reason for that is that when the soil freezes, it heaves or expands. And so if your foundation or the footing or your post is above that level, then it's going to move. Whereas if it goes below it, then it's not going to be prone to that movement. This is an exciting moment. The first post is going up, and there's kind of a lot of little tricks to standing a post like this up with an excavator, especially a post that has all these branches. And the reason I left all the branches on is so that I can build a crow's nest up in the top, and then also one of the branches is going to support the loft. So there's a lot of different the weight distribution is a little unpredictable. So first I like to always just kind of gently, slowly lift it up to see which way it wants to go. And the other thing that I find is most important with this is getting the chain just right so that it's not too loose, but also not too tight. Because I have before gotten a post standing up to where it was just pressed right against the bucket of the excavator and it was chained. And because of where the excavator was, I couldn't back up. And so I was so tight to it that I ended up having to cut the chain off because I couldn't move at all. So it's the right balance, and on the next log I'll show you how I'm chaining it up. But yeah, we're just gonna kind of slowly lift this one and see what it wants to do. And then if it's cooperating, I'll just stand it right up and we'll brace it. Exactly where the interior floor. Okay, so we're at 4.9 interior floor. That's with all the deck framing underneath. We're at 4.9. So I need 4.9 to be how many feet away from that point? I want the first ceiling, I'm thinking 8 feet, and the second one 7 feet, which I could cut that shorter. That would be 15 plus 4.9. So it's still, yeah, I mean, it's 19 and 9 inches, which is pretty much what I have. That's the point of the roof. Oh, that's only 18. Yeah, I mean, I really can't
cut anymore.
I can't cut anymore if I want a 7 foot. I want a 8 foot ceiling and then a 7 foot ceiling, which that's a little excessive. I mean, I think I can lose a little. So basically, a few things. One is that I know that the curl of the bucket is going to allow me a lot of flexibility. I would never want to chain it up super tight right to the bucket, because then every little move that I make with the bucket is going to move the tree. So I want the tree to kind of be able to get to a place where it's got its weight on the ground and it's standing there, and I can make adjustments with the bucket so that I can kind of change where my leverage is. So there's always got to be some slack, but at the same time, too much slack means that you get it up in the air and then it can stray pretty far from the bucket, and suddenly you've got a situation where, you know, more than half the weight is leaning away from the machine and it's pulling the machine over. So you need to keep it close but not too close is the point. And you also want to make sure that you're well past the halfway point of the weight of the tree, not just the visual halfway point, but like there's got to be a lot more weight down at the bottom so that you don't stand the risk of, as it's coming up, it wants to just keep going and it just tips past the chain. So first of all, I'm making a connection here that's one connection. That's basically all that's really needed. Once there's tension on this isn't going to come unhooked, and it's really all that I need. But this second wrap is going to be for extra safety, because you never know if it twists in an unpredictable way and that hook comes off. It's good to have another hook. And so this one, I'm actually going to wrap all the way around. And this also is just, the reason I'm having to wrap this is also just that this is how long the chain is. It doesn't really need to be this long. But as I'm wrapping it, I don't want it to be too tight, because this is just secondary kind of security. And I don't want it to limit the motion again, because I want the tree to be able to kind of do its thing while still staying close to the bucket. It's a kind of a heady thing, but it just takes trial and error and being really careful in your trials so that you're not like, I'm standing this 25-foot log up and oh, it didn't work. Like, start with smaller logs, start with less chain, start slow. But I feel like this one's gonna work this time.
It's looking pretty straight to me.
Oh man, that is cool.
Yeah.
No feeling quite like that. That's where it is, man. Much more important with trees like this that they are standing the way that they want to stand than that they look level. So a lot of that is just like, I actually think it's pretty close, just because I could feel when I got it to where it is now, the machine stopped having to work. It's leaning against the machine a little bit, I think, so I feel like it's gonna have to come this way. But also, I'd rather it be leaning uphill than downhill, because gravity is always going to have its way eventually. So this will also give a little bit of a reference. And with this, oh yeah, see, see, you would have never guessed that. Check this out. That's level. Okay, now stand back and look at how crooked this level looks.
Oh no.
Isn't that a trip? I mean, I would have thought just with my eyes that it needed to go that way, right?
Yeah.
But this thing is telling me that actually, if anything, I would go more that way just to have it be uphill more than downhill, knowing that it's going to want to settle. But I think I'm going to leave it where it is, and then this one, look at that. That looks pretty great. This is what I call a happy post. You don't move a happy post. I was gonna twist it because I wanted that brace to actually be going this way, but no. That's a big no. We're bracing it. That's so cool. All of these boards that I'm using for bracing, I milled them yesterday out of the same cedar trees, and they're going to be the loft boards. So I try to always make sure there's at least or at least two functions in every function, stacking functions. So I didn't want to just mill boards just for the sake of bracing and then get rid of them. So obviously these will have another use, and I don't want to just buy lumber and get rid of it. Discouraging this brace from being able to kick out this way. If that post wanted to start leaning, we want to make sure that this guy stays right where it is. One screw is never enough because it just makes a pivot. They're 2-inch boards, and I'm using 4.5-inch screws, so that there's a good bite into the tree. And really this is all just kind of back up. You can't really see it because some soil has fallen in there, but this is sitting on a bed of rocks, and the reason for that is just so that there's better drainage under the post. This is pretty clay heavy soil, so it holds water. So the idea is that in a really wet time of the year, which is most of the year here, you don't want to have water just sitting right under the post. So if it's on a bed of rocks, that water at least settles below the rocks. And then there'll also be concrete in this hole. But to displace some of the concrete and sort of wedge the post into place until the concrete comes, we're also going to put these big rocks around it. Now I'm going to get one more brace on and then get this chain off of there and move the excavator. Good way to get high. Stand up a big ass post.